When you reach your 60s or 70s, every small choice you make about your health carries a weight you might not feel right away, but it matters a lot. You may think of your morning pills as harmless, as routine as brushing your teeth. A multivitamin here, a supplement there, maybe one or two extras your neighbor recommended. You take them faithfully, believing you're doing something good for your body. But let me ask you something from the heart. Have you ever paused to wonder if those very pills might be doing the opposite? I am not here to scare you. I am here because I have sat with too many men and women, just like you, who walked into my clinic feeling fine, even proud of the supplements they took every day. They believed those pills were helping them stay active, sharp, and healthy. But blood tests and heart scans told a different story. Elevated blood pressure, irregular rhythms, clogged arteries, silent signs that the body was not thanking them for their well-intended routines. Let's get honest for a moment. Most seniors I talk to have no idea that some of the most popular vitamins and supplements on the market, the ones labeled as heart-healthy or anti-aging, might be quietly harming them from the inside. It's not your fault. The labels are persuasive. The marketing is relentless. The shelves are filled with bottles that promise youth, strength, vitality. But the truth? It's not just about what you eat or how much you walk. It's about what you swallow and trust every single day. Some of these supplements might have been safe or even helpful in your 30s or 40s. But now, your body has changed. Your arteries have changed. Your heart is more sensitive. Your blood vessels are more fragile. And that means the margin for error is much smaller. What used to be a safe dose might now be dangerous. What once felt like prevention might now be damage control. I know this might be hard to hear, especially if you've been relying on the same bottle for years. But knowledge is power, and awareness is the first step to healing. You see, your heart is not just an organ. It's the rhythm of your life. It's the reason you can hold your grandchild, take a walk, enjoy a quiet morning coffee. And it deserves better than guesswork and good intentions. So I'm asking you not as a doctor, but as someone who cares deeply to take a second look at what you're putting into your body. This is not about fear. It's about clarity. It's about taking back control over something you thought was helping you. Because the most dangerous health threats aren't always loud. Sometimes they're quiet. They come in the form of tiny pills with big promises. In this series, we're going to look at 5 common supplements that many older adults take every day. I will explain how they affect your heart, why they may be more harmful than helpful, and what you can do instead. This is not about blaming or shaming. It's about giving you the information you were never told. It's about helping you protect the one thing that has never stopped working for you, your heart. And here's something I want you to remember. Healing is possible. Your body, even now, has the ability to repair itself. But only if you stop the damage in time. Only if you choose to listen and act with intention. The power is in your hands. Not in the pills, not in the promises, but in your awareness and your choices. So before we dive into each of the 5 supplements, I want you to ask yourself one thing. Are you ready to hear the truth, even if it challenges what you thought you knew? Because what I'm about to share could make all the difference in the years ahead. You are not too old to change. You are not too late to learn. And your heart is still listening. Let's begin. There was a time when vitamin E was hailed as a miracle. The antioxidant that could do it all. Protect your heart, boost your memory, slow down aging. You would walk into any drugstore and see bottles with promises of longevity and vitality. It seemed harmless, natural, almost essential. So you added it to your routine, maybe 400 units, maybe even 800. You thought, why not? It's good for me. Everyone takes it. But the truth, the real truth, is far more complicated. And for many seniors, it's far more dangerous. In my years of practice, I have lost count of how many older adults I've treated who did everything right. They exercised. They ate well. They stayed active and positive. And they took their vitamins faithfully every morning. But then something unexpected happened. A weak heartbeat. An episode of internal bleeding. A trip to the emergency room with symptoms that didn't make sense. And more often than not, we would trace the problem back to one unsuspected source: high-dose vitamin E. Here's what most people don't know. Vitamin E, especially in doses higher than 200 units a day, thins your blood. Now, thinning the blood may sound like a good thing. We're told it helps prevent clots, and in certain cases, under medical supervision, it can be. But when you're in your 60s or 70s, and you're already taking other medications, maybe aspirin, maybe a statin, maybe something for blood pressure, that extra thinning can become dangerous. You see, as we age, our blood vessels become more delicate. The protective lining thins out. The body becomes more reactive to small imbalances. What that means is, something as simple as too much vitamin E can tip the scale. It can increase your risk of internal bleeding, especially in the brain. It can interfere with your heart's rhythm, creating flutters or palpitations that feel like anxiety, but are really your heart struggling to stay in sync. What makes this so dangerous is that there are no early warning signs, no flashing red lights. You feel fine, maybe even great, until one day you don't. And by then, the damage has already begun. That's why this conversation is so urgent. Because you won't know you're at risk until it's too late, unless you choose to act now. And I get it. You were told vitamin E is heart healthy, that it fights free radicals, that it supports circulation. But that message came from marketing, not medicine. The studies that once supported high doses have been challenged, even overturned. And yet the supplements keep selling. The bottles keep promising. But your body, especially your heart, does not care what the label says. It cares what happens when that pill dissolves into your bloodstream. If you truly want the benefits of vitamin E, there is a better way. Nature has already packaged it perfectly in foods that your body recognizes and absorbs without confusion: almonds, sunflower seeds, spinach, and avocados. A handful of nuts, a plate of greens. These provide vitamin E in forms your body understands, in amounts it can handle. No guesswork, no excess. And if you were thinking, I still want to take a supplement, that's okay. But do it with guidance. Talk to your doctor. Ask if you really need it. Check your other medications. And if you still choose to take it, keep the dose low, under 200 units. More is not better. In fact, more may be the very thing that's silently working against your heart. Let me say that again, because it matters. You don't need high-dose vitamin E. You need clarity. You need balance. You need to respect that your body, at this stage of life, is not the same as it once was. And that means your decisions have to change too. So the next time you pick up that bottle, before you twist off the cap, ask yourself one question. Is this truly helping me? Or am I just hoping it will? You deserve better than hope. You deserve knowledge. You deserve health based on truth, not on trends. Let's keep going. The next supplement on our list is one nearly every senior has been told to take. But without one missing nutrient, it may be hardening your arteries instead of strengthening your bones. For as long as most of us can remember, calcium has been the golden ticket to strong bones. Doctors recommended it, commercials praised it, and after a certain age, it just became part of the daily routine. You hit 60, you start worrying about fractures, hips, spine, balance. So you add calcium, maybe 500 milligrams, maybe more. It feels like a smart move, like you're doing your future self a favor. But what if I told you that without one missing piece, vitamin K2, that daily dose of calcium might be doing more harm than good? Let's take a closer look at how calcium really works in the body. Calcium by itself does not know where to go. It's like a traveler without a map. You take it, it enters your bloodstream, And unless it's directed, it can end up in places it was never meant to be. That includes your arteries, your soft tissues, and yes, your heart. And when calcium accumulates in the walls of your blood vessels, it creates a condition called arterial calcification. In simple terms, it hardens your arteries. You might not feel it right away. There's no pain, no dramatic symptoms. But slowly, silently, your arteries lose their flexibility. Your blood pressure rises. Your heart has to pump harder to push blood through the stiffened pathways. Over time, this increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and heart failure. And all the while, you thought you were protecting your bones. I've seen it too often. Seniors with beautiful bone scans, no sign of osteoporosis, but with chest pain they can't explain. Heart scans that reveal blockages and calcification. And when we trace it back, one common thread appears. Calcium supplements taken for years, but always without vitamin K2. So what exactly does vitamin K2 do? Think of it as a traffic officer for calcium. It tells calcium where to go, and more importantly, where not to go. It directs calcium away from the arteries and into the bones, where it's needed most. Without K2, calcium drifts. It settles. It builds up in places that make your heart's job harder, not easier. Here's the tricky part. Most over-the-counter calcium supplements don't include vitamin K2. And worse, very few doctors bring it up during routine visits. It's not standard in most multivitamins. It's not on the labels in bold print. And yet, its role is absolutely critical, especially for aging bodies. You might be wondering, should I stop taking calcium? The answer isn't that simple. If your diet is poor in calcium, if you've been diagnosed with low bone density, then yes, calcium may still play a role, but it must be balanced. Not taken alone, not taken without thought. The smarter move is to focus first on food. Leafy greens like kale and spinach, fermented foods like natto or certain cheeses, sardines, yogurt, these provide calcium, often with K2 and other cofactors naturally present. If you do choose to supplement, look for one that combines calcium with K2 and magnesium. And always, always, talk to your doctor first. Share your current medications. Discuss your heart history. Ask whether arterial calcification is something to monitor, because what you do not know can, in fact, hurt you. Let me put this into perspective. Your body is an orchestra. Every supplement you take is an instrument. When everything is in harmony, the music is strong and beautiful. But when one instrument is too loud, or one is missing altogether, the sound becomes distorted. That's what happens when calcium is taken without K2. It throws off the balance. It creates noise instead of health. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you reviewed your supplement routine with someone who truly understands how they interact with your body as it ages? Not just a sales clerk at the pharmacy. Not just a friend's suggestion, but a qualified professional who knows your heart as well as your bones. Because protecting your bones should never come at the cost of your arteries. And strong bones mean little if the heart carrying them is struggling every day to keep up. There is a better way. A balanced way. And now you know, the missing piece. Iron is one of those nutrients that sounds essential, even heroic. It brings oxygen to your cells, supports energy, helps fight fatigue. And when you're feeling tired in your 60s or 70s, reaching for a supplement that promises more energy seems harmless. In fact, many multivitamins labeled for seniors include iron by default, as if everyone needs it. But here's the truth, most people are never told. Unless you've been tested and confirmed to have low iron, supplementing can actually be one of the most harmful things you do to your heart. I've seen it time and time again. Older adults come into the clinic with vague symptoms, tiredness that lingers, foggy thinking, a little more joint pain than usual. Nothing urgent, just enough to make them feel off. They're often taking iron, not because a doctor recommended it, but because it was in the bottle they picked up off the shelf. They think, It's just a vitamin. What harm could it do? But here's the problem. Your body has no natural way to eliminate excess iron. Once it's in, it stays. That means every unnecessary pill adds to a growing stockpile inside your body. And iron is not like vitamin C or B, which flush out easily. When iron builds up, it turns toxic. It begins to settle in places it doesn't belong: your liver, your joints, your brain, and most dangerously, your heart. This condition is known as iron overload. You may not have heard of it, but it's more common than people think, especially as we age. And the symptoms? They often mimic other things. Fatigue that doesn't improve. Memory slips that look like aging. Aching joints that resemble arthritis. But underneath it all, the iron is quietly doing damage. Inside your heart, too much iron creates what we call oxidative stress. It's like rust forming on a car engine. Slowly, it weakens the muscle. It disrupts your heart's rhythm. It increases your risk of heart failure, arrhythmia, and other serious complications. And it can take years before the damage becomes obvious. That's what makes it so dangerous. You don't see it. You don't feel it until the harm is already done. Before you take another iron supplement, stop and ask yourself a simple question. Has your doctor ever tested your ferritin or iron levels? If the answer is no, then you're flying blind. You're adding something into your body without any clear need. And that is never a good idea, especially not after 60. Now, let's be clear. Iron deficiency is real. It affects many people, especially those with chronic blood loss, poor diets, or certain conditions. But that is not a reason to assume you have it. Fatigue can come from dozens of causes: poor sleep, low B12, dehydration, depression, or even medications. Taking iron just because you feel tired is not only ineffective, it may be harmful. So, what should you do instead? First, get tested. It's a simple blood test. Ferritin, total iron, transferrin saturation. These numbers can tell you exactly where you stand. If your levels are low, then yes, iron can be a powerful tool. But if your levels are normal or high, the best thing you can do is avoid it. Don't trust assumptions. Trust evidence. If you're eating a balanced diet, especially one that includes red meat, beans, or fortified grains, chances are you're getting enough iron already. And if you're concerned, bring it up with your doctor. Have a real conversation. Ask the hard questions, because your heart deserves better than guesswork. I'll leave you with this. Just because something is sold over the counter doesn't mean it's safe for you. Just because it's labeled as essential doesn't mean you need it. And just because you're getting older doesn't mean you should stop being curious about what goes into your body. Your body is still listening. Your heart is still working hard for you. Don't weigh it down with something it didn't ask for. Choose with care. Ask with courage. Because the next supplement on our list, vitamin B6, might be quietly doing something even more unsettling. Let's talk about something that might be sitting quietly on your kitchen counter right now. A bottle that promises energy, heart health, sharper memory. A multivitamin, maybe one with bright labels like Senior Support, Heart Essentials, or 50+ Vitality. It looks trustworthy. It sounds like it was made just for you. But buried inside that capsule may be more than just good intentions. There may be ingredients that are quietly overwhelming your body, especially your heart and nerves. And two of the biggest culprits? High-dose vitamin B6 and poorly formulated multivitamin blends. Vitamin B6 has a reputation for being safe. It's marketed as a feel-good vitamin, something that helps your brain, boosts your mood, even helps with sleep. You'll find it in sleep aids, energy boosters, and brain supplements. But here's what no one tells you. Unlike many vitamins that simply flush out of your system, B6 can accumulate. And when it builds up beyond what your body can handle, it turns toxic. Over the years, I've met countless older adults who report strange symptoms: a tingling in the hands or feet, a shaky feeling, balance problems. They've been told it's just part of getting older, but often the real cause is sitting in their supplement cabinet. High-dose B6 taken every single day. Too much B6 damages the protective lining around your nerves. It creates a slow burning effect, like wires losing their insulation. That's why the symptoms are so hard to pinpoint: numbness, burning, muscle weakness. It doesn't stop there. Excess B6 can also interfere with your heart's electrical system. That natural, steady beat your heart depends on? It becomes erratic, irregular. It opens the door to heart rhythm disorders, which increase your risk of stroke and sudden cardiac events. And what's most troubling is how easy it is to overdose. Many senior supplements contain 200 or even 500% of the daily recommended amount of B6. Add that to an energy drink, a sleep aid, or a fortified cereal, and suddenly you're way over the safe limit every single day. You don't see the danger, because it builds slowly, but over time, the effects can be devastating. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. These risks don't come just from B6. Many so-called heart-healthy multivitamins are packed with ingredients that simply don't belong in an aging body. Niacin in high doses, which can strain the liver. Herbal blends like green tea extract or ginseng, which can spike your heart rate. Excess vitamin A, which becomes toxic when it builds up. And all of it hidden under vague labels like proprietary blend, so you never really know what you're taking. As a heart doctor, I've seen the fallout. Seniors who come in with dizziness, palpitations, or unexplained fatigue. We dig deep, we run tests, and we find that the problem wasn't a disease. It was a multivitamin. A handful of pills they thought were helping them, actually making them worse. Why does this happen? Because the supplement industry is not tightly regulated. There's no standardized oversight. Companies can load their products with flashy ingredients, give them a feel-good label, and sell them without long-term safety data. That's why it's up to you to be cautious, to read the fine print, to ask questions. So what should you do instead? First, stop trying to do too much at once. A dozen pills won't make up for poor sleep or a weak diet. Health is not about volume, it's about precision. Choose fewer supplements, but choose them wisely. Talk to your doctor. Bring your bottles in. Go over them together. Ask what you really need and what you can do without. Second, stick with food as your foundation. Bananas, chickpeas, fortified grains, these give you gentle, natural doses of B6. Leafy greens, berries, fish, these support your heart without confusion. Your body knows what to do with food. Supplements should only be used to fill specific gaps, not to replace meals or fix habits. And finally, take a breath. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight, but you do need to start asking better questions. Because your heart, your nerves, your brain, they are not as forgiving as they once were. They need your help now more than ever. Not more pills, not louder promises, but wiser choices. You've made it this far in life. You've earned the right to protect your body with clarity, not clutter. So before you take that next pill, take one moment. One honest moment to ask, is this truly helping me? That's how change begins. That's how healing begins. And your heart is ready.